Good afternoon. My name is Ellen Hunter, and I am the instructor today for the professional development on disciplinary literacy in science, preparing our students for the 21st century. All right, let's get started. I'll briefly go over the agenda. I'm going to welcome you and tell you a little bit about myself. The learning objective of the day of the professional development, it's to better understand what disciplinary literacy is, it's important in elementary science instruction, and how to utilize specific strategies and activities to enhance DLI in the classroom. So, like I said, we'll go over what it is, why it's important in science, and then you're going to walk away with some specific DLI instructional strategies, mind maps, close reading of text, tier 2 vocabulary words, and then we'll wrap it up and you'll be able to take away, like I said, a few actual strategies and materials that hopefully you can use in your classroom. You will hear me use the term DLI, obviously referring to disciplinary literacy instruction. All right, a little bit about myself. I'm a kindergarten teacher currently in Santa Barbara, California. I've been married for 25 years. I have 3 children ranging in age from 24 down to 17. I'm currently in the master's program at Cal State Fullerton, Masters of Reading and Literacy. And I love to travel. I did actually have my first teaching experience in New Zealand for 3 years. I got my credential at age 40, so a little late in life, and taught there for 3 years. I love to travel and hike. A couple years ago, I went to Rwanda to work on a project that I had been involved in and had the opportunity to teach there. My interest in DLI lies in the fact that I'm hoping to empower my students to become change makers in the world and give them kind of a broader range of knowledge and problem-solving skills. All right. What is disciplinary literacy instruction? It's a way to engage learners in discipline-specific content knowledge. Teaching learners how to think, read, write, speak, critique, and comprehend in the disciplines. And this is not necessarily something new, but it's very specific in having a deeper understanding that as a content area teacher, we have to be teaching literacy strategies and skills as well. It has to be incorporated. We have to provide students and empower them with becoming a part of the community of experts in a particular domain, whether that's science, history, math, art, music. So it's really going to require a more integrated and complex approach to teaching. And educators are really going to have to incorporate literacy practices that will support and develop students to become these members of the disciplines in a part of society. So why DLI in science? Well, the Common Core State Standards requires educators to prepare students for 21st century skills, to be, of course, college and career ready, as you know. And students need to learn science by doing science, through reading, writing, thinking, communicating, like scientists, using the language that scientists do, being co-constructors of knowledge, active co-constructors of knowledge, instead of passive recipients of facts. And so, again, we need to help students learn how to think and communicate and critique in the field of science, and having these scientific habits of mind to help them make sense of the world. And of course, technology. Technology will be a huge part, and students being able to use multiple sources, how to use multiple sources to read, write, and communicate in science. Let's get to some specific strategies. So the first one that I wanted to introduce was mind maps. Mind maps was invented by a gentleman named Tony Buzan, and I actually have a link down here, a YouTube video where Mr. Buzan explains what DLI is, what mind maps are, and how you can use them. And it goes a little bit into how our brains work and why he created the idea of a mind map. A mind map is a note-taking strategy to engage learners in deeper comprehension when reading text. They are designed with the brain in mind and best how our brain organizes information. It's a much less forced way of note-taking to, again, provide that comprehension through previous associations and previous learning that the student may have on a particular topic. Here's an example of a mind map on light and sound. So it starts here in the middle. And of course, this is very bright and colorful, and you're going to want to create mind maps with lots of colors, sticky notes, highlighting, using maybe colored pencils. So this one's on light and sound, probably upper elementary mind map, really even junior high. You can see the topics in the middle, and then it branches out. And each branch has it's a different link to light and sound. So you've got light, of course, and you've got sound. And then it goes off into mirrors, shadow, really anything that comes to mind when you think of light and sound. Materials, seeing. So it's interesting. Let's just take a look here at light. So light is the big branch, and then the smaller branches are sources of light, properties of light. And so for sound, it branches off into changing and wave, and then you've got vibration, hearing, and materials even branches off into smaller little twigs, so to speak. Materials down here, and shadow. I like the idea of shadow. Source, blocked, length, size, closer, overhead. So this is a really good example of a way to use a mind map for light and sound, way to create one. Now, what I want you to do is, I want to jump ahead here to a sample mind map for elementary students. These are on your table, as well as this light and sound one, just to give you that visual. But this is a really good example of a very basic mind map that you could use for elementary students. In the middle here is where you would put your topic. And then this one is perfect because it only branches out in 4 directions. Now, if the student wants to branch out further, great. There's plenty of room to do that. They can just draw a line here with a different color and put some extra bubbles here. But for today's purpose, what I want us to do is, I want you to get some practice to do this. So let's go ahead here. It's your turn to activate your brain and use this basic mind map with what I've given you on the tables there. I want this mind map to be about yourself. Okay, so you're going to put your name in the middle, and you're going to start by branching out, writing down all that you know about yourself. So everybody take out a mind map right now and get some colors that you're going to use. Put your name in the middle, and then start branching out here. So for instance, here in this first one, you might do this, you might in the middle write your name in red, and then here you're going to branch out. This is all going to be blue. About your family, maybe you're going to go family here. Maybe this one's going to be about your job, and you're going to branch out and tell everything you know about your job. Here you're going to maybe do food that you like. Here maybe travel or hobbies. So you're going to want each one of these branches out to be a different color. Okay, so I want you to go ahead and do that right now. And I'm going to give you guys about 5 minutes to use the colored pencils on the table, organize your ideas, make them stand out, and just let your brain branch out into all different directions. All right, so go ahead. All right, so now that you've had a chance to do that, I want to move on to another very important strategy called close reading. Close reading is a strategy to help students uncover layers of meaning, leading to deeper comprehension of text. Students deliberately read and reread the text, annotating, taking notes to engage with the complexity of a text. It really directs a student's attention to key supporting details and central ideas of a text. And when you do this, you're really going to want to choose short text. You're going to want to help them focus on analyzing what the author's trying to say on a very short text. So this is a really great close reading annotation symbol chart, anchor chart that you can not only have displayed in your classroom, but I've even made bookmarks out of it so students can have it really handy right on their desk or inside their desk or in their folders. So for instance, when a student is annotating a text after they've read it, maybe the teacher reads it first, then the student reads it by themselves or with a partner, and then they go ahead and read it a third time where they're annotating, putting symbols on the outside of the text, in the middle of the text, a star, important detail that they've noticed. They can circle words that they notice are important, question mark for if they have a question about it, exclamation mark if they find something really interesting. They can put a C for a connection they maybe have made to the text, E for evidence, and a heart maybe when they find their favorite part. So what I want to do now is I'm going to read Water, Water Everywhere. This is a fifth grade passage, a fifth grade science text, very short, but a really good text for students to be able to learn close reading strategies. I'm going to read it, then you're going to read it with a partner, and then the two of you together in the margins are going to take notes on what you've learned and what you're wondering about. What questions do you have about the text? Use these annotation symbols that I've shown here, and you've got a copy of this on your desk as well, on your table. So please use those symbols when you're reading this text. And you can even highlight some things. There's highlighters there. And be prepared to share your questions and wonderings and your annotation with the class. So go ahead and get started. I'm going to give you about 7 or 8 minutes to do that. All right, the third strategy I want to emphasize for DLI and the importance is teaching robust instruction in Tier 2 vocabulary words. Tier 2 words are those vocabulary words that are high utility. They can be used across a variety of domains. They're more characteristic of written text, not conversation. When you instruct in these and when you introduce them, introduce a smaller amount at a time, not so many words. This is going to help with deeper meaning making. And you're going to, I want to remind you, the goal of vocabulary instruction is to help students learn the meanings of words so that they can read, comprehend, and again, communicate in the disciplines and beyond. Here's an example of some fifth grade science vocabulary words that are Tier 2. Obvious, complex, establish, verify, consistent, extend, significant, and approximate. These are words that you absolutely could use in science, but you could also use them in history. You could also use them in art. You could also use them in math. So they're great words that are considered Tier 2 that can be used across the domains. I want to introduce you to just a little vocabulary activity. It's called the missing word game. So right now I'm going to give you a couple minutes to play with a partner. You're going to take turns saying a sentence with a missing word. So the missing word will be one of the new vocabulary words. So give your partner 3 choices of words that it could be. So here's an example. When conducting an experiment, you need to be a blank throughout the process. Is the word verify, complex, or consistent? You need to be verified throughout the process, complex throughout the process, or consistent throughout the process when conducting an experiment. So go ahead, I'm going to give you a minute or so to play that game back and forth with a partner in coming up with a sentence that has a missing word. All right, so just to wrap it up a bit, if you have any questions or comments, I'm happy to take those now. You can always email me with further questions or comments. I'm even available to come to your classroom to support your learning and practice of DLI strategies. One final thought, content area teachers will need to be flexible and open to the idea of teaching literacy strategies in their content area. It's going to require collaboration with literacy specialists on the best ways to achieve DLI. And this is going to be critical to success to meet the needs of all students in the 21st century. So just remember that you're going to need to be flexible and open to that idea. Thank you very much, and I am very open to any questions